When I counted the money that evening, I made $168. I mean, 5-year-old Mickey, $168, fantastic.
In a couple of hours, right? That's amazing.
Couple
That'll
hours.
hook anybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ignition Path podcast, where I'm your host, Kyle Goodnight. I've got a great guest today that's going to be able to save you a ton of money if you reach out to her and find out about her services. We met with a podcast match or something. Before I introduce you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you hear something that is important that you may think that one of your friends or a coworker needs, don't forget to share this with them. Just hit that forward button and share it with them. So real quick, I want to introduce you to Sally Gimmon and have her come on and talk all about her entrepreneurial path and what brought her to this industry that she is really taken. Our introductory call was eye-opening. I can't wait to get to hear more about what she does and how she helps people and businesses with everything she does. So Sally, go ahead and tell us who you are, what you do, where you came from, and we'll get into it.
Well, thank you, Kyle, for having me. My name is Sally Gimmon, and I'm actually a real estate investor. October 2018 was a watershed month for me. 3 major things happened, and I had to change my life. So, started real estate investing, and in 2019, still working full-time as a Medicare broker, making pretty good money doing that. I wholesaled 7 bank-owned properties nationwide. My mentor was teaching me that. I had set aside capital gains. I knew about that. I was, not that I didn't think of it. But what got me in trouble was I didn't realize my tax bracket. There are 7 tax brackets from 10% to 37%, 7 different tax brackets. The more money you make, the more you have to pay. My personal tax bracket went from 22% to 24%, and instead of paying $50,000 in capital gains, I owed the federal government $78,000 in capital gains. Yikes.
Oh, my goodness.
My CPA asked for a meeting. He was going to set me up on a payment plan for the rest of the year. And what I came up with, my solution was I took out a HELOC on my recently paid off house. I was completely debt free. Woohoo, yay, Sally! But defeated the purpose. And I paid what I owed. Well, it got me curious. I had read an article about the Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust. It's called The Office. It's 7 generations old. It has almost 400 people under the same EIN or employee identification number, the number that for your LLC type thing. And I'm like, I want to find out more about the Spendthrift Trust. It took me 5 months. In September of 2000, I started both my business Spendthrift Trust and my beneficial Spendthrift Trust. And personally, I've saved over 6 figures in taxes in 3.5 years. And I was the first female masterclass in my real estate group, very proud of that fact, to teach other investors how to save capital gains. And then I got tasked by my coach to open up my own business in March of 2022 because small businesses need to know this too. I mean, I've got clients saving thousands of dollars.
Wow, that's incredible. So you were in the industry, and then you just found a niche inside of that needed to be filled with. I think we even said this on our introduction call. I'm like, it's a loophole, or like or some form of loophole that you found that allows you to do this. So I do have some questions. I do have a trust, when it comes to what my wife and I put together for when we first had kids, and we're both in the medical field. So, I'm actually not insurable in some people's eyes because I drive a medic and I'm inside of an ambulance. So I'm somewhat not insurable.
You're the kind of person that need insurance completely.
I'm insured. No, I'm insured. No, like my company insures me. I'm insured in case of a death through them, but we're going to go for above and beyond insurance. Nursing, and probably not anymore. I mean, COVID nurses died too, you know what I mean? So, they were just as risk as we were, but it's probably because we drive fast in an ambulance and they look at all the numbers and all that stuff. We finally found, someone would insure me if I wanted to pay a god awful amount of money every month, for my premiums. But the one that was affordable, they're like, no, they won't touch you, but they'll touch Jen. They'll do the nurse. And I'm like, okay. She gets around just as bad as crap as I do, but I digress on that. So when it comes to the path of starting your own business with this, was it something, have you always been an entrepreneur, or did it just fall in your lap, or how did that work? Because the Ignition Path podcast is all about the entrepreneurial path of how you got to where you are. What was your previous thought process on entrepreneurship?
This is a true story. When I was 5 years old, living in Pittsburgh, I have
Go Steelers.
yeah. You have to know half my family. They bleed gold and black. But I asked my mom for $10 to buy a lemonade stand. My dad was going to graduate school at Pitt. He was very, very busy for the year. And I wanted to sell lemonade in my townhouse that was right next to Three Rivers Stadium, the old stadium where the Steelers played. They wouldn't let me do this.
I know.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was my next door neighbor. His name was Joe Green. He was not mean Joe Green. There were 3 Joe Greens at that time. But this man was massive. He was 6'6", the nicest guy in the world. I don't know if he told the Rooney family. My older brother was going to a school where the Rooneys did a lot of things. But Mr. Rooney knocked on the door. My mom, who's from Ireland, opens up the door, and he goes, "Hi, do you know who I am?" And she's like, "No, should I?" And he's like, "You're the only person in Pittsburgh who doesn't know who I am." He goes, "I would like your daughter to come and sell lemonade to my football players after spring practice this coming Saturday." My mom's like, "Can I get your name and number?" And my grandparents who live in Pittsburgh, my granddad's like, "Who came to your door? Can I take your daughter?" This is before they won the Super Bowl. So
Right. Oh, okay. So early 70s, yeah.
This was 1972, April of 1972.
Yeah,
so
the year I was born. Yep.
okay, yeah, I'm aging myself. I was 5, so yes. So my granddad drives me over the card table. I tell my older brother I'm going to pay him $5 to help me out. We have everything, and then Mr. Green, and he's like, "Don't call me Mr. Green, call me Joe." I'm like, "I can't, sir. You're an adult." He's telling all the football players, "Come over. You'll buy lemonade from her." Did this. My granddad got all these signatures, everything else. It was a fantastic day. My mom, you probably don't remember this, but bank books used to have months on it. My birthday's in August, so I had an August bank book. I owed her $10 for the lemonade stand. I owed her $2 for the sugar. I owed my brother $5. I owed my granddad money, everything else. When I counted the money that evening, I made $168. I mean, 5-year-old making $168. Fantastic.
In a couple of hours, right? That's amazing. That'll hook anybody.
And I was wearing a patch. I had pigtails. Everything. So we put the lemonade stand into the shed in the backyard. You can look this up in history. Hurricane Agnes came up the Ohio River and flooded everything. I mean, it was a disaster.
Wow.
Our backyard was completely flooded. And 2 days after the hurricane went away, we opened up the shed, and it was a cardboard lemonade stand. It was destroyed. And I can remember my mom saying, "You made enough money." And I looked at her like, "No, I didn't. I want to make more." And she's just like, a 5-year-old telling me that's crazy. So I don't know, my granddad did his own business, but my dad was a military officer. My mom was a nurse. I mean, I don't know where it came from, but I like being my own boss. It's so much fun. I don't like being somebody else's, listening to somebody else.
Yeah, I've had struggles with that too. I mean, I still work full time as a paramedic, and I do have a boss, but I've got like 8 bosses. I've got a lieutenant and a captain and several chiefs, but that's different to me. That's not like that's way different because we wait until mayhem happens and we go help. So it's just a lot different than I've been in the corporate America and had true bosses and got along with my boss pretty good, but I didn't get along with some of the mentors that he put me with. But so I ended up going back to the clinical realm. But yeah, let's get back to the trust stuff. So you do this through trusts or through mortgages? Like, I guess I just need a little clarification on how you actually set this up.
This is actually a trust. There, 97% of all trusts sold every year are what my mom and dad had, what Susie Orman talks on television, the family trust or the living trust. The only thing,
probably what I have, yeah.
No offense, Kyle, probably because that's what most people know about.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it would I think we did it back in 2001, 2, right around there, 2002 and 2003 timeframe, right after my son was born in 2001. We did it right after that.
Well, it's a smart thing to do. I'm not making fun of that trust, but this is not your mom and dad's trust. This trust is what the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Carnegies, the U.S. presidents have. The living trust, the only thing it does is avoid probate, and then it dissolves. You and your wife are probably both trustees. Whoever's the last one, not to wish you ill will, whoever's the last one to survive.
I get it.
Then it
We're medical. We get it. Yeah.
Correct. So your son can't use the trust. I mean, like that doesn't go to the next generation. Our tax code went into effect in February of 1913, and the super rich families back there, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the DuPonts, made sure they could save taxes. Well, if they can save taxes, why shouldn't we? So with the Spendthrift Trust, I work for a private law firm. Paul Benson was a Harvard law professor. 76 years ago, he wrote these 5 different trusts that saves different ways. They've none of the trusts have ever been audited, and 4 ways it's going to save you. It's going to save you taxes year after year, generation after generation. You'll never pay them back. It's going to keep your information private. An LLC or S corp or a C corp, that's statutory law. I can go to the Secretary of State or the Corporation Commission of the state and research them. 40% of all LLCs get sued every year. Third way, hopefully this won't happen, but all lawsuits become frivolous. One of my clients who has 120 doors in Chicago literally was driving his humongous RV, never seen it, but I can guarantee you it was a $250,000 RV. He couldn't slow down for traffic. He hit the car in front of him and it pushed that car into the car in front of her. No one's injured, but one car got squished. The insurance card had the RV and had his trust name on it. His Illinois driver's license had Patrick's name on it. 6 weeks after the accident, he gets a lawsuit for $500,000 for pain and suffering. She wasn't injured, but she wants to get money because she sees this expensive RV. Has no idea he's got all this real estate in Chicago, and the only thing he had to do was send the first page of the trust to her attorney and saying, "This is, you can't sue me." That lawsuit went away and became frivolous. I mean, it saved him a $500,000 lawsuit. And then the fourth thing.
Wow.
I don't know if your audience knows about this. Have you heard about the Corporate Transparency Act from the Treasury Department yet?
I haven't. No, I have not.
This is if you are an LLC doing business as a corporation or S Corp, you're going to have to file paperwork with the Treasury Department by December 31st of 2024, or could be fined $10,000 or 2 years in jail. There are some lawsuits out there. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but it is law right now. With the Benson Financial Trust, you're exempt from doing this. So a new client of mine, he has 44 doors, a real estate investor. I just saved him a headache. It's not hard to do the paperwork, but it's going to take time. He doesn't have to do 44 corporate transparency acts, and he's just like, I don't even want to do one, let alone 44, because they want a lot of information.
Right. So when it comes to someone like myself, I'm a small business guy. I'm a voiceover actor. I'm not doing that full time. I do have most likely the older trust. I think we put that I think it just tells where the kids go, but they're all adults now, so it's kind of a moot point. But like the kids would have gone to my in-laws if anything happened to us prior to them becoming adults. So I think that's the word agenda. I haven't looked at it I put it in a box.
That's most people do that. Exactly.
2003, and I probably haven't looked at. I've looked at the outside of it since then, but I don't think I've opened it up and reviewed it. My financial advisor may have reviewed it, but I'd have to double check with him. But when it comes to that type of trust, and then me being a small business, not making that much money at it, you know what I mean? Me starting up my new business, I am doing business as under my because podcasting and podcast coaching can fall under voiceover because I do voiceover for podcasts, so I can kind of keep it in the same realm. So I'm good with that. But when it comes to that kind of a small business, and then the fact that I have a county job or a state job, if you will, where I pay taxes into PERS, I don't pay taxes into Social Security because we're a private entity. So not that I didn't do Social Security prior to that job when I had other jobs that did pay into Social Security, because I have some in there. But when it comes to me and not having all these, I have one property, the one I'm sitting in right now, and the bank still owns most of it. Where does what you're doing and what your company offers, where do I fall in that realm, along with anybody else that's listening that's a little more small potatoes, if you will?
You're doing things. Give yourself credit. If you don't mind my asking, Kyle, are you in Illinois? What state are you in?
Ohio.
I do that. So just to give you an idea, there are 4 ways to file your taxes: single, head of household, married jointly, which you would be doing, and then married separately. When you go out to my free course at sallygibbon.com, there's going to be a chart there. Single's the most expensive way to file. if you were making $80,000 in your voiceovers, podcasting, and everything else, you would save $12,960 per year with the Spendthrift Trust. Now, being married, your taxes are going to be a little bit lower, so you won't save just as much, but that just gives you an idea. I use the $80,000 to give someone an idea, and that's a lot of money. $12,000, almost $13,000. That could change your life.
Oh, heck yeah. So until I get to that point, do I not worry about this kind of trust, or is it something that it should definitely be looked at as we get to a certain income on our entrepreneur path, or is it conglomerate, like meaning if it's a combined $85,000 between my full-time job, my voiceover and podcasting job, and my wife's job, is it combined, or is it only for your LLC and your own?
The trust will not hold an LLC or S corp. Again, that's statutory law. The trust is on the federal level. So I can only work with 1099 income earners or people who own the business. Is your wife working a W-2 job, or is she a 1099 income earner?
No, W-2.
W-2. So again, because with W-2, your situation being a paramedic, a little bit different, but W-2.
I'm still a W-2. I still get a W-2, yeah. But it's just my I don't pay into Social Security. I pay into OPERS. Yeah. So
you'll have a pension then, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So a pension won't be in the trust either, because pensions have different rules. My granddad was in Pittsburgh Steel pension for 20 years after he retired. But if it's a 1099, so what you're doing with your voiceover, with your coaching, with everything else, when you start making some money with it, the main thing you want to know about, because of the lawsuits and because of keeping your information private, start looking at it when you and your wife feel comfortable about it. This is not something you need ASAP, but
gotcha.
It's not taught in school. I went to undergraduate school. I went to
what is? School. They don't even teach how to balance a checkbook in school.
Exactly. So
not that we balance checkbooks anymore, but
well, you have to balance. You have to know what your balance is. To give you an idea, This is a true story that happened a week before Memorial Day. She's a mother. She's got 3 kids. 1 kid's in school. 2 kids are too young to be in school. They live in Texas. Her husband's making $75,000 a year. They live okay. She started digital marketing. In the first 5 months of 2024, she made $100,000 doing digital marketing, working. Fantastic. Yeah. Good for her. She's making money.
Yeah, absolutely.
She made their taxes go from 12% up to 22%. And then if she continues to do what she does for the next 6 months or 7 months of the year, she's going to make their taxes go up to over 24%. Their taxes, their federal taxes, because Texas does not have state income taxes, are going to go, and I'm using round numbers, are going to go from $8,900 all the way up to over $33,000 a year. And she's just like, well, what can happen? And I gave her the figures. She set up a 30-minute tax breakthrough session with me, and I'm like, here's how much I can't help you from January 1st through May 31st. You're going to have to pay taxes on that. But going forward, this is how much we'll save you. She's got to decide if it's appropriate for her, but she'll save over $10,300 for the remaining of 2024. And then in 2025, the full year, she will save that $33,000 a year. And she's just like, wow. She goes, it's almost, I can retire my husband in 2 years if I continue doing digital marketing. I'm like, you can retire your husband now. You just made $100,000. I wish I was making, that's a lot of money. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, real quick, and this is totally up to you. I'm going to ask you about your business and how you actually make money doing this. Is it because is that an appropriate question? And if it's not, no big deal. We'll shut it down. Because, like when it comes to financial advisors, or when it comes to investment people, the people that help you invest, like Merrill Lynch or whatever. I mean, I'm just throwing names out of investment places. They get a percentage of each transaction. Like, so how do you actually get commissions and have grown this as a business? Is that inside of the law firm, or is it only coaching services and you charge for that? Or is it a percentage of what they save? Like how does it work?
I have a contract with the law firm. I'm an independent contractor with the law firm. When I started both my business and beneficial trusts, the gentleman who sold them, unfortunately, he passed away back in November of 2023. He was my I don't want to say upline because I was like a affiliate marketer, but I worked under him. Now that he's passed away, I do pay for the team. So, and I also pay for the CPA to do that. When you have any of the trusts, you'll file a 1041 tax return, not a 1040 tax return. So this is all part of the information. And I have my clients pay the law firm directly. It's either going to be by certified check or by wire.
Okay.
And then I get paid, and from that, I do pay out the different things. There is a whole team that's working with you. One person is going to get you the new EIN number and a letter. We do suggest you go to any bank you want. One of my clients, this is a true story. She's down in Florida. She's at the Seashell credit union that has 2 locations, and she's been a customer there since they opened. And she's like, I love my Seashell credit union. Other clients are at I'm Wells Fargo or other banks. It's your decision where you go. There's a whole team that walks you through to make sure you know what you're doing, because we don't want you to spend money and then just not use it. We want you to know what's happening. And, I make good money at it. I do have I do have a discount if someone buys a second trust, because most people go with either the business trust or the beneficial trust, depending what they're doing. And then a lot of my business owners are making such great money or saving such great money. They now want to start helping real estate investors. Do you invest in real estate at all besides your own house?
Not anymore. I used to be a part of my mom and dad's business a long time ago before mom died. They owned 26 properties and helped manage it with them. But
Wow.
we don't. We liquidated it. We liquidated everything when she couldn't qualify for disability 2 years before she passed away. So dad basically just flushed everything. Just got rid of it.
Wow, the capital gains they had to pay, unfortunately.
Well, he took a loss on most properties. We had a lot of properties that weren't worth much, and plus it was 2000. It was 1998. So yeah, I'm not sure on all
Okay.
that. So
Well, that's the other thing, just what you talked about with disability. This is not under your Social Security number. This is under a new
Gotcha.
EIN or a tax ID number, so it doesn't affect you. One of my clients, he's in my real estate group. This is a sad story. He lives in Oregon. 2 years ago, he went to a church picnic or something, and someone made devil eggs. I don't know if it was too hot outside or if someone didn't wash their hands correctly. He got kidney disease. He's on. When things go bad.
salmonella, right?
Exactly. I mean, he's 34 years old. Now he's 36 years old, and his dialysis. He's got to get it 3 times a week. His dialysis is costing him, if he did it on his own, $14,000 a month. It's expensive. I didn't know dialysis was so much.
Yeah.
He was going to have to sell all his real estate. So he started the Spendthrift Trust. His Social Security number still has his Medicaid and Medicare, because you have to wait 2 years to get on kidney disease you get on right away. So his Social Security is going to pay for his dialysis. Everything's in the trust, and they don't know what he's doing there. And he's just like, he's saving the taxes on his real estate, but he still gets his dialysis paid for, and he loves it. Another one of my clients, unfortunately, his dad has cancer. And again, there's usually a 2-year delay to get onto Medicare. If you're under 65, you got to prove what's going on. The father, I didn't know cancer drugs were so expensive, but the adult son, put the father as a beneficiary, and he's helping his dad go through cancer treatments at Cancer Hospitals of America. Where I lived in Arizona, it was just down the street from me. So there's so many different ways this trust will help you. If you're over 65, this is kind of a crazy thing. How much do you know about Medicare?
Not much. I mean, not much at all yet. I mean, I'm not quite there yet, so I don't know much. My in-laws are over 65, and they deal with that. But yeah. So, but go ahead.
If you're over 65 or under 65 and on Medicare, the federal program, not the state program, and you make more than $91,000, you're going to get charged what's called IRMAA, IRMAA, where your Part B, which is your doctors and your tests, you have to pay completely out of pocket for it. It's expensive. And so the trust, every October, the IRS goes back 2 years. So October 2023, they went back to 2021 to look at all 1040 tax returns to see if anybody who's on Medicare made more than $91,000. If they did, they got this huge bill that, hey, you got to pay this now. Because any of the trusts file a 1041 tax return, they don't know about it. So I'm not trying to skirt the system. I'm using what current laws there are. I mean, the Spendthrift Trust is in the IRS tax code 643B. The Spendthrift Trust has been in front of the United States Supreme Court on 2 separate occasions. I mean, this is contract law. It's out there, and the rich people know it. I just want to teach regular people how to save money.
Right, exactly. So what last question, then we'll wrap things up, and we'll I'll ask you how to reiterate everything where people can find you and save this kind of money. So, because that's important. That's what we're here for,
Yes.
to highlight you and what you do and your superpower. Superpower is saving people tax money. So that's what's great about you. I don't know if you got your cape on the back. You can show us later, but
I Afghans behind me, but yes, it's my cape.
there you go. That Afghan cape. That's perfect. I'm going to go to ChatGPT after this. I'm going to make a picture of you flying with an Afghan cape. You know that? No. So real quick, when it comes to what happens inside of Roth IRAs and 401ks and pensions, how does anything what you do help with those taxations when it comes to that time later in life and that
Great
retirement
question.
time?
Great question. Right now, I was guilty of this too. I have Roth IRAs, but the majority of my money is in what's called a traditional IRA. I do work with several insurance agents. That's considered a qualified plan. If you take that money and put it into an annuity, you're okay. But if you want to grow that annuity, that's when you start getting taxed on things. If you just take the money out at before 59 and a half, you got to pay 10%. But even after, let's say you're 70 years old and you're going to take your 401k, your traditional 401k money out, that's when taxes happen. Because it's a qualified plan, I can set up, if you have the trust before you move the money into the annuity, we can save the taxes. We have to, again, the financial planners I'm working with, they know how to do this. There's certain paperwork to fill out. And then you can grow that money super fast, and then you can make that money, and then you don't have to worry taxes on it. If it's a Roth IRA, keep the Roth IRA. Keep using it. You do have to take a distribution at 70 and a half. But since it's after tax dollars, you don't pay any taxes on it. Unfortunately, with a pension, I just tell people with a pension, keep it separate. I've got, as clients, I've got 4 school teachers. Actually, one of them's just retired. She's got this great pension, but she's a real estate. She's got 14 Airbnb houses, and I'm like, just keep them separate. Let your pension pay you directly, as her name's Cheryl. Let the pension pay you, and then now with your trust, it's a different name. That's where all the money will go through.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, thank you. That's a plethora of information. This whole episode is full of information that sparked more questions, but I like to keep it nice and short and sweet, and just so
I completely understand. People have never heard of this before. I agree.
Yeah, so give Sally a call or text. She's going to get ready to tell you how to get a hold of her. Go ahead and tell everybody about how they get a hold of you and where to go to find out this information, and we'll go from there.
Excellent. Have you ever heard of Six Sigma?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they just have they have a brand new platform out there called The Great Discovery. It just went live March 15th, 2024. So if you go out to my name, www.sallygimmon.com, no hyphen, no period, just all squished together, I have a free course on The Great Discovery. It's a presentation. It's got 3 articles from Forbes magazine. It's got the chart where I looked you up in Ohio, how much you would be making, things like that. That's there. And then my website is www.thetrustisyou.com. I do a live every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Question and answer, because people have questions. They're like this. I actually had a CPA who said to me, "This can't be true." Today I had a conversation with a financial planner, and he's like, "Give me more information." Because we're going to help his clients save thousands and thousands of dollars a year. Because
now, when you say you go live, is that on Facebook or on Zoom links?
Zoom.
Do people get access? Okay, so
Correct.
They access that from your website?
On Monday night, it's thetrustisyou.com/Q like Queen, N like November, A like Alpha, Q&A. And that's just I usually go on, do a quick presentation, about 10 minutes, and then open it up for question and answering, because my goal is to help as many U.S. business owners, U.S. 1099 income earners, and U.S. investors learn this information because it's not taught in school.
Right, right. Well, very, very cool. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, Sally. You've been a plethora of information. I'm sure it's going to help someone out there that listens to it. And when I start making my $80,000 a year in voiceover, I'll give you a call. But
you have a beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you very much. That's why I podcast. I never ever wanted to be a host on a podcast. And then it just kind of morphed into me being a host and me enjoying it and me getting to meet so many people like yourself and others that, especially when it comes to the Ignition Path podcast, other than my other podcast, which is Elevate Podcast, shameless plug to my own other podcast, which is on the first responder mental health crisis that we're having right now.
That's needed.
So I have a podcast on that as well. It's called Elevate with the number 11 as the L, so it looks like Elevate, but it's two 11s it's two ones, and the two ones represent the on and off duty persona of the first responder, because it's not all about what we see in the first responder world. It's about our families and not being at home and all that stuff. So I have two podcasts, which I enjoy both of them. They're both passion projects for me, and this one is more appropriate to grow my business on. So I've split the other one off as not a hobby, but I still think it's very helpful. And I put up weekly episodes, and I've got a backlog and got a lot of people lined up to come on that, and had some great people on that. But this one I'm growing my business around, and that's with podcasting and podcast coaching. And another shameless plug, if anybody wants to start a podcast, I know that Sally has talked about it in the past and may possibly do it in the past. And I hope she would have this relationship with me to reach out to me, and just like I'm going to reach out to her when I need those trusts, whether that be closer to retirement. I'm only 8 years away from retirement. Actually, the one that I may want to get you on a phone call with my in-laws, because they're in their 70s. They own a property at the beach, and we can just see. Yeah, he retired from Anheuser-Busch. She retired from the Limited. So it'd be nice to see, talk to them, have an appointment with them, like one of your free consultations.
Is it just their house, or is it like a vacation rental that they rent out?
It's a rental. No, they rent it out. Yeah.
Well, we could help them. And
they make money on it. Yeah.
Nice plug. That you become beneficiaries, so it's just one trust. So it's your in-laws, and then when they pass away, then you and your wife become the associate trustees, and it starts. And then it goes to your children and everything else.
My wife and her brother. Yeah, my wife and her brother. I'm not. I'm not associated with. I mean, I'm married into the family, so it would have to be that
free beer.
path. But nonetheless, yeah. Yeah, nonetheless, it'd be something that I definitely think that because that's the first person I thought of when you started talking about the number, the amount of money someone makes on a property and what to do to protect it, and that's the big thing, the protection.
Protection, and then also not to, well, you're EMT, so you're used to this. When someone passes away, if their estate, you're going to have to pay taxes on the estate. So your wife and her brother. We could save them the taxes on that too, because all the inheritance tax goes away too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely. So something in our future for sure. So, all right, Sally, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you coming on the Ignition Path podcast, where we represent the path of the entrepreneur. We bring entrepreneurs on and talk about their path and their superpower, and let them discuss their business and how they get a hold of people, which we've done all of that stuff. So I think this is a complete and wrapped up show. And anything else you want to say, Sally, before we sign off?
I just appreciate you having me. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful year. Hopefully we can save your in-laws some money.
Right. Sounds great. And for those Igniters that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We enjoy any comments, any suggestions. Go ahead and don't hesitate to put that stuff in the YouTube comment section. I'm totally down with comments, good, bad, and different. If they don't like my hair, that's fine. I mean, I don't. I've been over my looks for years. So, but either way, comments are comments. They are what they are, and I'll be happy to answer questions. if there anything about what Sally has, I can forward those to Sally. She could see the comments, of course, because I keep it public. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit that bell for notifications so you know when we have another episode or we go live, which is going to be happening hopefully sometime soon. And thanks for tuning in to the Ignition Path podcast. Sally, thanks so much. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to Ignition Path, fueling the entrepreneurial fire.